Well, hello, beautiful women in the pet industry. Paula here, your pet industry coach. I'm excited to have you all join me today on this beautiful Monday to talk to someone that I'm excited to celebrate her journey over the last 90 days and for you all to get to know her, because I met her and I didn't know her and I was like, why did I not know this person already? So the goal today is to celebrate her journey and to inspire others to see how they can improve their journey. You know, we're all on our own individual journey. No judgment here. You're where you're meant to be. But you might see others in the pet industry doing things that you wish you could do, or where you've been and how you can change in your ways as well. So let me bring on our friend Heather. Let me change up my screens here. All right, there she is. Hello, Heather. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I would love for people, because I didn't know you, and this is what I found being in the coaching industry is like, I did not realize how many amazing women are out there. And then I got to meet you and what you get to do. And so I would love for you to share where you're located and a little bit about your services, because you have a little bit of a uniqueness, not just dogs, that I think would be fun for people to connect. And maybe they, need to refer people to you for that other species you work with.
Okay. So I own Underdog Behavior and Training, and I'm in Pompano, Florida, Pompano Beach, and it's between Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, so South Florida. And I specialize in fear, anxiety, and aggression in dogs, but do all the other stuff too, like manners and puppies and socialization and things. I also am a big fan of rabbits and cats, and I work with them as well. I volunteer for the Humane Society of Broward County, and I do a bunny basics class that I started many years ago, and because they adopt out rabbits. So I have house rabbits. They run around my house. I don't have any dogs right now, which everyone thinks is so weird. But yeah, so I work with rabbits, I work with cats, but mostly dogs, and then rabbits, and then cats.
And I don't even think I knew about the cat side of it. But I think that's really cool because, there are times that people get pet rabbits. I know we're getting close to that season.
Yeah.
And so now is a big time to talk about those sort of things. And so if folks who are watching, need that support, maybe they have a dog client that also has a bunny, you're the go-to for that. And what's great is you can help people all over the globe with their bunnies. So that's super cool. Yeah. And I also think, as long as I can remember, and I don't know if I shared this with you, Heather, underdog is like my thing. Like aside from dogs, like I am all about the underdog. Like I'm all about like that diamond in the rough that other people don't see the potential. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so like anything, any industry. Like my husband really likes NASCAR. So I'm always about like the underdog and that, and all these different pieces. And so I just love that your business name represents that. And it's really clear to people that you're looking to help maybe dogs or animals in general that have been overlooked, and that you can help them and see their potential that maybe others couldn't see.
Yeah, that's true. I've always rooted for the underdog. And sometimes the underdog is the human in the relationship because they're kind of flailing and they don't know what to do, and they need help and they don't know how to get out of the situation they're in if they're having certain issues with their animals. So it's not always the dog, but that was the original thought. But then yeah
well, because we realize it's so much more than the dog or the animal. It's the human that is caring for them. And while you and I are not in the industry of psychology and that sort of counseling, sometimes it takes that rule to our limit, to help people really understand their animal and understand what they're doing or not doing, contributing to that part of the relationship.
Yeah. So I try to have compassion for the people involved too. I think some people love animals and they're always, just looking out for the animal, and that's where we start. But sometimes the people need a little bit of cheerleading too, and little hope, especially when I'm dealing with the aggression or things like that.
Yes, because it's not an easy thing to live with. And I thought another interesting thing, and I think this is, I don't know, it'd be an interesting survey, is some trainers are all about dogs. Like all they want to talk about all day long is dog, 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 dog. And like, I know for me, the longer I've been in this industry, the less I talk. Like, that's why I'm a coach now, right? Like, I still have my dog training business and I love it. But really the business and the people side is like where I want to be. And I thought that was really interesting for you. You're like, when I'm done training, I have other interests. Other things I like to do. And that's cool. And I think we have to celebrate that because other people might feel guilty or weird about that, right?
I think I sometimes do because, some of my training colleagues and friends, it's like they've got 5 dogs. Every shirt they wear has something to do with a dog on it. We get together, they talk about dogs. And I'm kind of like, what else is there? It's like work. I mean, it's a weird thing because the thing, you love dogs, but at the end of the day, it's also work. So you don't want to just talk about dogs. And, you have friends sending you every dog video they see online. It's like, okay, another dog video. I don't think they're adorable, but it's like I just spent my whole day with dogs. Maybe do some gardening or just think about something other than dogs.
Yes, I think that's just so important for people in this industry to be like, either way is fine. Like, you and I agree with that. Like, you do you. It's right. Cool. But it's also, if you are completely into the animal and the industry and all that, which, I go in those phases too. It's like, it's okay to have other interests. And it might be a good break, to not, one of my things is not be burnt out.
Exactly. So
if you're all about work or all about, it's a very heart-driven business.
Yeah.
I mean, you could wear yourself out real fast.
It can be draining and, emotionally and physically, depending on the dogs. But yeah, we need other, and I've always been someone who has so many interests and I want to dabble in a million things. And I've always sort of envied people who knew at the age of 5, I want to do this. And they did that and they love what they do and they're very focused. And it's harder for me to just pick a thing and go with it. I'm just like, but I like that. And I like, oh, what about that? Oh, what's this like? And then there's some overwhelm, which is where coaching comes in.
Yes. And there's definitely that balance. And I just think it's cool to like celebrate each woman who comes on, these and say like, this is who she is. And it's super neat, right? And there's something we can take away from that to say like, oh, that's cool that she does that, but that's not for me. Or, ooh, maybe I should explore some other things out there. There's other things out there I didn't know. Oh my goodness. So we can talk about that like all day, but we came to focus on your journey over the last 90 days. We met back in October. October, it had to be early October. Mm-hmm. And we met at a great conference. And you were just saying, oh, that was such a good conference that we went to. I met a lot of people there. Highly recommend going if you guys have not been. The Aggression Conference in Dogs. Mm-hmm. Michael and many others put on. It's amazing. If you didn't get to go, I still have to listen. I don't know about you, Heather, but I still have to listen to like all the talks.
I have 3 left. And yeah.
That's impressive. You only have 3 left. So the first question I want to know, and what everyone probably wants to know, is like, what were you struggling with at that time that you decided, hey, I need to get some support for this?
Well, like I said, focus was an issue, and still is, and at times, and I think it was always having a to-do list and not, recognizing or celebrating the things I'd finished, and just always thinking there's another thing, and I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And whether or not I really wanted to do that, or it was something I was good at, or I wanted to do, I should do, So if there's a lot of, if there's a lot of choice and a lot of things to learn, and when you're working with another species, there's no end to the learning.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it could be, I get overwhelmed with all the things that are possible. And at first it's exciting, but then I need to focus myself and be like, today, because I would spend too much time thinking about doing and not doing. Mm-hmm. So then I get into an overwhelmed situation, and I pile all this work on myself, or blame, or, and then I start to procrastinate because I'm kind of beating myself up. And it's this cycle where I'm not using positive reinforcement on myself. Which is true. It's like, I wouldn't do this to a dog. I wouldn't, yell at him for not sitting properly, or, not moving faster with his resource guarding. But with, sometimes the self-talk is, why haven't you done this yet? And you haven't completed all these goals of yours. And then, the overwhelm sets in, and I don't do anything, and I get stuck. And so when I saw you were one of the vendors at the conference, and I checked out your site, and I signed up for the free call, and I was like, yep, this is something I need to do it, right? Even before I talked to you, but then talking to you, I loved your energy. You're a great cheerleader, and it was what I needed. But I think we put it off like a month because I felt like, I'm adding another thing on my plate, and I was a little nervous about that. But once I got in the flow of it, it really helped me narrow things down. And we talked about zone of genius, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like, oh, I should do this and I should do that. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I should do that. I should offer that because I can, and people need that.
Mm-hmm.
And
slippery slope.
Yeah. And then you kind of forget like the path that you're on and where you want to go, because you're just doing things to fill time, and okay, I guess I should offer this and that. And you're not really going down the path. You're kind of making these turns that aren't really suiting me. And mm-hmm. I want to be energized and happy about what I'm doing. So sometimes it means not doing certain things that aren't my cup of tea.
Exactly. And, you could shit all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and you did this with work and with personal, mm-hmm. All these things. And being a woman who is smart and an achiever, it is so easy to like put all those things on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy easy. Like it's, if we could have like a talent show just on that, like it would be a big competition.
Right. I'd be in the top 3.
Right, exactly. I mean, and we'd have to think about like an interesting award, right? Like a shovel or something. The golden shovel. But it's so common. Like it is so common. We want to serve everyone. We want to do all the things. And not having that focus, as you said, you have all these little side roads that you take.
Yeah.
And you never get to your destination. You never finish that certification. You never finish that project. You never feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because you're doing all these little things. And it's just like, where do you want to go? If you wanted just to be like exploratory, go with that, right? Be like, yeah, I'm just going to explore a bunch of stuff. But that's not what you were doing.
Right.
You were just like, I'll dabble, but it's really not making me happy.
Right.
And that sucks. It's not a way to live, right?
Right.
We worked on that a lot. And it's so, you think about how long you've been doing that, Heather, like maybe our whole lives we've been doing that thing. So it is, like you said in the very beginning, like you're still working on it. it may be something you have to maintain and practice for the rest of your life.
Right. But it gets easier. And I know that I can do it because I've done it in the past, and I'm better at stopping and kind of looking around. Oh, wait, this is going well, instead of just like hamster on a wheel. Okay, now what do I do? Now what do I do? Looking at my phone. What's next? What's next? And that's exhausting.
It's so exhausting, and it's just not a place to live.
Yeah, and that hamster, that ball that sometimes hamsters are in, and they roll around and they hit walls, and they're just. That's how I was feeling sometimes. Was, where am I going? I don't know. I'm just keep running.
Yeah, and that's such an interesting analogy, because it is. I mean, and we have pet rats because of our business, and I heard they're not supposed to be in those balls. So it makes you wonder, like, if other little critters are supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's the illusion that you are getting somewhere,
right?
But you're actually not.
Right.
You're literally in the same place.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not even paying attention because you're not even watching where you're going. You're just your feet are moving.
Yeah.
Just along.
Exactly.
That's done. Now what do I have to do? And it's just this like desperate.
Oh. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, we just do it. We just do it. We're not aware. And so hopefully that someone else hears this and is like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I feel it. Right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a practice to get out of. And it's just like what we do with dogs who have aggression issues. They may always have a reaction, but how quickly do they recover? How quickly do we assist them in it? It's so parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful. The faster the dog comes back, but we can't say, oh, he's never going to bark at a person, or he's never going to bark at a fluffy dog. He might, but how quickly can we both recover or manage so that we don't have that reaction anymore?
Yeah. And will his or her reaction be as intense as it was?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get better and lower the stress level. And that's what
it's so easy to tell it to someone else.
Yeah.
It's very hard to apply it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next hard question. What changes have you experienced? What things have shifted for you? We talked a little bit about it with just, shiny objects and projects and things. But what are some other things that you've experienced by putting in the work over the last 90 days?
I'm calmer. I don't get in the panic mode like, oh no. It's like, okay, everything's fine. I've got time. And when I don't fall into that panic mode or should mode, then I'm much calmer about just enjoying the work that I'm doing. A big part of what we talked about when I first talked to you on the phone was I felt disorganized in my life. So a big part of the 90-day project was for me getting my house organized. And I've done so much work in the past 3 months and feels good. And I was going to do it all myself, but I've hired my handyman, Peter, to do a lot of things. And it's easier for me to go out and make money and pay him than me to take a day off and want to do things that he does faster. So zone of genius. Baseboards are not my thing. He's putting in a new shower door, things like little projects that I've been wanting to do, and painting and organizing. So I'm now, the last part is just finishing my office and feeling good, and I don't get upset because there's still messes around because I'm still in the midst of it, but I just feel the flow of it. So there's more ease.
Yes. And just being open, that was something that you started out trying to do everything yourself. You're gardening, you're painting, you're organizing, all the hanging things, all these different things you wanted to do. And so I've physically seen the changes by you showing me your physical space, because our physical space definitely represents what's happening on the inside. But how beautiful that you've you've actually had a friend help you with organizing. You have Peter now, and like you're allowing them to have their zone of genius.
Yes.
Like, how cool is that? That like you're letting go, control freak us, and saying, right? Like you go do it, and then it's done, and it feels so much better than I should really hang that curtain.
Right.
When I have time and energy and
then a year goes by and then it takes 10 minutes and you're like, what? Why did I wait a year to hang the curtain?
Right. Yes. Yes. I can totally relate. Yeah. And you just live with it.
Yeah.
Very much like our clients live with their dog behaving a certain way until it hits a breaking point.
It's a good analogy.
Very much. It's so parallel. It's just scary.
You don't have to live like that. They're like, it's fine. I'm not worried about that. I'm like, okay.
Right. You're like, talk to me in 6 months.
To live this disorganized. Yeah.
By the way, you have to do it alone.
Yeah, exactly.
I got this. I can do it alone. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You can do it alone. You don't have to.
Just like, yeah, you know, people say, oh, I can train my own dog. Okay. Some people do, and they do a great job, and other people, you know, depends on where you're getting your advice and how much time do you have, and you know, do you have to recreate the wheel? Maybe you hire someone to help you, and it goes more smoothly.
Yeah,
it happens faster. And
sometimes it's funner to do it with someone else, you know?
Yeah.
Just different experience altogether.
Right.
So that being said, what did you find the most helpful in being in the coaching program? You know, it's a group coaching. What was your experience?
Well, like I said before, I love, you have a lot of energy. You're a great cheerleader, upbeat. You attract a lot of amazing women. I love the women in our 90-day group. And just listening to them and what they're going through, and you know, it mirrors so much of what all of us are going through as you know, behavior professionals. And it's good to bounce things off each other. And I love that I tend to think that, oh, I have to do this myself, and it's kind of reinventing the wheel sometimes. I mean, why do I have to figure out like contracts and you know, start from scratch on insurance and all these little nitpicky things that it's fine just to get help and reach out and get ideas and tips and share those. And it just feels good to that sort of family kind of group that you're getting a lot of great ideas from. And you're so helpful with that, Paula. You're so giving, and you know, sharing your expertise and, you know, ideas and life hacks. You're just really good at, you're very giving, and it's made me more giving. You know, people, a lot of, I think trainers can be very, they want to hold on to what they have or what they wrote or whatever, you know. Why would you give that away? Because, you know, they think of other trainers as competition, when we can all learn from each other and, you know, get great tips from each other. I mean, if I sit in on someone's class, I always pick up at least a phrase or something that I'm like, oh, I like how they said that. And I start, I notice that I start saying something similar, and it's super useful.
Yeah. And you're right. There has been so much amazing energy. It's honestly better than I imagined going into this business. Because I was one of those people that was very like protected and don't look at what I have. Oh yes.
Never would have thought that.
Yes. I have come a long way, and I'm comfortable admitting it. I would not have, well, obviously I wouldn't have this business because for those who have not worked with me, I share almost 100% of my pricing, my contracts. Like, I mean, obviously get your own like lawyer and accountant, those kind of things. But, you know, yeah, I was not that person. 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
And it would not have afforded me this business, but it also, I have had amazing, I mean, this is an amazing relationship here. Like when we are allowed to safely meet, like we're all going to get together and we're going to have our wine and, just have a good time. But I was not that person.
Right.
And so the fact that you are taking that and saying, I'm going to be that warm fire for people in my area or people interested, that I'm going to gather people versus say, it's a scarcity mindset when we don't.
Right.
And I totally know what that feels like. And I do every now and then have to check myself. And I have friends that I can be like, so am I going down that path again? Like what, because there is a level of protection we need to have. Right.
Yeah. Right.
But if we go into it thinking this person is going to take from me, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
They're going to take from you. But if you're like, what can I offer? Like, how can I support this person? It's a 180 experience.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just encourage everyone, as Heather said, to be open to that and to be, really giving. I've always been a giving person, but there was a limit.
Yeah. There's a
and that's not a thing. Yeah.
Objective. But, it's a relief to not have to reinvent the wheel on every little thing, and some other things that were helpful, just helping. Well, I loved our weekly talks, and just having a topic and we'd all discuss it and just all the ideas that we get. But, some of it was personal too, because our personal life affects our work life and vice versa. And so it's not just about you as a trainer or behavior consultant. It's incorporating everything, what's affecting your life and how is that affecting your work, and is there balance, which is really important.
Yes. You are a whole person. And so I believe there's no way, and that's how I receive coaching as well. I'm a whole person. So if I'm struggling with a relationship, it's going to show up in our business, right? Yeah. And that's true. We have single ladies, we have married ladies, we have parents, we have a whole smorgasbord of people, and you have to meet people where they're at. Yeah. And that, is something I'm game for. I'm game to show up for the personal stuff. Right. Even though, the goal is business related.
Yeah.
Right. You're a whole person.
Right.
Just like our dogs are whole dogs. And so we have to address every piece of what's going on in their life as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought was interesting, some people who come to me for coaching have already been coached somewhere else and they've had a great experience. You had a good experience with your previous coach, and then you showed up here because I'm a dog trainer. I'm a behavior consultant. So it was different for you that, you got what you needed from this other place. And then you were like, I need someone in the industry, maybe you didn't know it before the conference, but I need someone who's in the business. And that's something that's, different that I can offer than just other coaching that's out there.
Yeah. It's nice to have that niche, because I love my other coach, and she's a good friend, great person, and I still benefit from that and that group. But it's a different. It's not as narrowly focused. So this was helpful to really get into nitty gritty stuff about having your own business as a trainer. Exactly.
And I highly encourage people to, I have multiple coaches, and I know now you have one of my coaches as well, financial coach, like financial coaches and mentors. And as long as everyone's in alignment, you're good.
Yeah.
But it's definitely helpful because I'm not the expert at everything. And there's definitely people who can support you in specific ways. So sometimes I feel a little strange, like, wow, I need this much support. But at the same time, it's amazing that we can have, multiple avenues to support us in our journey.
Yeah, I think it's great when coaches have coaches, because we're always evolving,
Yes, I have to have multiple coaches. Yeah. And I only wish I had done it sooner, right?
Right.
All right. So thinking about that, could you have done what you did over the last 90 days on your own?
Um, in 90 days? No, definitely not. And I don't know that I would be here if we hadn't had these 90 days, because I might have still been bumping into walls and not knowing where I'm going. And you know, this is where it all comes in together, and I feel like I've accomplished things that I had you cheering me on the sidelines, and the other women in the group, and it just makes things simpler. You're showing us some shortcuts and giving us positive reinforcement, and it just more smoothly. So rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, I'm just it's more flow and more ease with the group and with you. So, can you train your dog by yourself by watching YouTube videos? Yeah, you can.
Totally.
You know,
People do it all the time.
yeah. And are you watching? Which type of videos are you watching, and how helpful is it? And do you have someone there to answer questions along the way? And it's invaluable to have a coach in whatever you do.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. You could totally have done it on your own. You could have done it in the 90 days, but you don't have to. You don't have to. And the goal definitely is flow and ease. I definitely come from a yogi mindset because of my coach. And that's really important because we should be happy along the way.
Yeah.
And if there's struggle, it means it's the wrong path. Something's not right. And so often, and I have a post in my mind developing that's going to be in our women's group about, we think we need to hustle and we need to struggle and we need to be workaholics in order to be successful.
Yeah.
And the opposite is actually true.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So we've talked actually quite a bit about this already, but maybe there's something else, or maybe you want to just reinforce what you've said. How has this impacted not just your business, because obviously it's impacted your business, but how has it impacted you as a person?
Well, one thing that you said early on, you talk about bringing in a team, or have you considered having your own facility? Because I do one-on-one behavior consults and training, and I do board and train. But as soon as you brought up having a facility and maybe hiring people, my hackles went up. No, how would that work?
Ew. Who does that?
I mean, yeah, it had crossed my mind, but I was like, I literally thought I will never do that because hiring a team would be too difficult. Where will I find people? Why would someone want to work for me if they are a good trainer? They would just start their own business. So close that door. And you just put it very, very succinctly and said, well, some people don't want to do this full time, and some people don't want to start their own business. And you did it, and you talked about how you did it, and it just opened that door for me. And so there are more doors open. It's not what I'm planning on doing tomorrow, but it's definitely, I talked to 2 realtors, and it's something that is kind of floating out there that I might, and sometimes when I meet someone and they have a little experience in training, and I'm kind of looking at them like, is this someone that I know? So, and I'm going to be mentoring someone soon, and it's just, so I have a different mindset. Things aren't just like black and white. No, I won't do that. Couldn't do that. Why would I do that? It's like, oh, wow. What would that look like if I did do that?
Mind shift is a huge deal. Yeah.
And I'm like that in so many ways, like open about all these, what could happen, and oh, let's travel there. Why not? But sometimes I limit myself with old beliefs and stuff that are just, where I just, oh, close that door. That's uncomfortable. I don't know how that would work. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a very, like, it's a reaction, right? Yeah. It's just, I mean, your body, like I said, your hackles went up. I mean, I'm sure you like probably got tense, there was probably tightness.
That sounds hard and difficult, and I don't even want to think about that.
Right. And how could I ever find the right people? And it's a very common response I get.
Right.
But, because my journey has been very different, where I was the person going into a business and being the trainer. And then now I own the business. And so now I can recruit people. But yeah, and there are a lot of trainers who work for themselves, and they may or may not realize that they actually don't want a business, but they do it because they think that's what you do.
Right.
Right. And that's what you thought. That's what they should do if they're good.
Right. And I love working with people and, with trainers. It's not all about like, well, this is my business and I don't want, there's plenty of dogs out there.
For sure.
Need help, and rabbits and cats.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a good reminder that you gave me that, why are you closing that door so quickly without even like looking in and exploring it a little bit? Mm-hmm. And if you decide, no, actually, I don't want to do that, but it's because it's
I think we lost connection for a moment.
I was talking to myself.
Yeah, I'm sure it was amazing. But what I hear you saying is it's just help you to leave doors open or open them again and explore them. And that's something that you can do in business, but also in life, relationships, whether that's a romantic relationship or a friend relationship or, other business relationships to expand. And you have those in certain areas, but other areas, for whatever reason, you had closed off. And so you're now like, okay, I'll leave that one open a little bit longer before I close it.
Right. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
What's possible in the positive versus what's possible? Right.
Yeah.
So why now? I think we've had this little thread all the way through. Why did you say yes? I mean, it sounds like you already said yes before you actually met, which is adorable. And I so appreciate that, because I think it's an honor to get to coach someone like you. You're very coachable. And that's always what I'm looking for. But why was the time now, back in October? And yes, we delayed by 2 weeks before we started. You were committed, but also not. Why did you just, go ahead and agree to that and move forward in your journey?
Well, a lot had been going on with my family. My stepdad had a really bad fall, and it was very scary. He was in the hospital for quite a while, and I was really focused on that, and wanting to support my mom, and we were supporting each other, and that was happening at that time when the Aggression in Dogs webinar was going, and I needed a tune up, and I needed to get some energy from my people, people who get it, people who are on the same path. And there you were. And there were the other women in our group. And I was already open to coaching, thanks to Mo, my other, my coach that known for a while. And I was excited to find you, and it was just an easy decision. And the first time that I stepped into the coaching world, taking on a coach, it was there was a more of a scarcity mindset, like, how much does this cost? And but I more than paid for that in my income boost from I mean, it's definitely worth it. It's not something, if I look at it with scarcity, then yeah, that's what it is. But it comes back to me tenfold, in energy, income, focus, excitement. Yeah. So I was ready, and I was at a low place because I was very drained, just a lot of worrying and everything about my stepdad, and things turned out great for him, and we're so happy about that. And it just all came together.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that, you had that previous experience with a great coach, and you were open to, more of a niche coach, because you really came into it knowing how to utilize a program and who you were. So that's such a blessing.
Yeah.
And send Mo lots of love for that, because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to acknowledge where you are, and be open and be prepared to take the steps, whatever steps are necessary for you and your journey. And it was definitely easy from that perspective, because you already had some knowledge and some tools, and we were just sharpening them and adding some more into your toolbox too. And what's so cool about, I find, with coaching, I think you would agree, you get to take all that stuff with you.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's not for just the 90 days. It's for as long as you would like to utilize
Right.
that, what you took away from it in those moments. Right.
Yep.
And so when you think about, where you were at the time, who would be a good fit to jump onto a strategy call? Where would they need to be? What's some, tips that you would have for someone who might be thinking about it, but has not taken the step yet?
I'd say if you are a little bit feeling burnt out, if you're not super focused, and you're not feeling energetic about what you're doing, you're slowing yourself down or getting in your way, procrastinating at all, you're just kind of setting up these roadblocks, because we do that sometimes when we don't have the energy, or we don't know what path we're on. So we don't know what the next step is, or we just keep putting it off. Make the call, because, even just a phone call can help shift you and get you back on track.
For sure. Yeah. And what I offer is a free 1-hour Zoom call to say what's working, what's not, where do you want to go? Like, let's get some clarity. So whether we work together or not, that 1 hour is yours to utilize and say, where do I want to go? Because now all I'm going to think about, Heather, when I think of you, is that hamster in the ball going around, knocking around, and not, I mean, it's such a great analogy, right? Is so many people, I mean, not just in our industry, right? But like globally, are in this, they never reach to what they really want. They hold themselves back in some way, shape, or form, and they may not be fully aware of it, because we're fine. But we're really not fine. And there's so much more we can do if we want it. But you have to want it. I want someone like Heather who's coachable, whether you've had a coach before or not, because I want real results. I'm okay with some pushback. Heather didn't give me too much pushback, but I don't want a yes ma'am kind of person. You're not just going to do it because that's what I said. This is about you and what you want. And while I have tools for you that are universal, it's really about, what does someone like Heather, or anyone, what do they want, and how do we get you there without the burnout, without the struggle, without the exhaustion of what we do, because it's so easy for us to fall into that pattern. And I think that burnout is a very real thing in our industry, for sure.
You're also really gracious with your time. Not just the weekly group calls and stuff, but just being there for us with any questions and things. You're very open to that. And I really appreciate that. And sometimes wondered, how does she have enough time for all these, women calling her, texting her, and and running a business, 2 businesses.
Yeah. And that, I do get in my own, that's why I have my own coach. I do get in my own naughty patterns sometimes of overcommitting. But how quickly do I pivot back from that? It's really important. But you're right. I do run 2 businesses. They're both successful businesses and they require a lot of me, but that's that balancing act of knowing when to not answer someone, what healthy boundaries to put on. And we have to do the same as dog trainers and behavior consultants, as we can't be available 24 hours a day for people.
Yeah.
Because we need our own time and our own energy. But you're right. Part of the group coaching is still unlimited access to me through a message. The only day that I'm holding sacred is Sunday, but typically I get back to you pretty quickly. But, I know what I would want if I was on the other side. Sometimes you just need someone to say, yeah, you're right. That's absolutely right. Keep going that way. Or have you thought about doing it this way? Right. And again, the only goal is for what you want. So you already had it in you, Heather, and it was just a matter of, giving you some options and holding you accountable along the way. And so I received that gift of knowing that was helpful, because that's definitely what I want people to take away from this is I'm here for you. It's like we're working in your business together,
Right.
but you get to make all the decisions. Yeah. So thank you again for your time. If anyone's interested in booking a strategy call, I'm going to put the link in this description here so you can book that. It's Calendly, which I highly recommend folks get into to schedule your life, because it's so much easier to say, these are the times I'm available. That's one of my time management tips for my own self. And you can book your time. And if for some reason it doesn't work, let me know that too. And I can see if there is availability somewhere else. But thank you again, Heather. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited. When you do open your facility, I want to be invited to the open house, and at least I could send something, if not visit. I don't mind visiting Florida, just saying. Some good beaches and some good food in your area for sure. So thank you again for your time. And if you guys have any questions for Heather, you can post them in the comments. I'll make sure she sees them if you need support that she can offer in your area or virtually. Any last words, Heather, before we say goodbye?
Just thank you, Paula, for all that you do for dogs and humans, and super appreciative for all of your help. And this will be a continuing relationship. So
yes, absolutely. I'm so thankful for it. Thanks again.
Thank you.